can change vice versa.
Okay, and then
so
I saw a very interesting presentation by Lauren in Rick's Reactor Group 2 weeks ago, where he was talking about this very subject of the salt, and his comment was that he showed this graph where on one side of the graph it brought in certain ions, and the other side it brought in radioactive ions, I call it. And when you had the two of them together, it seemed like they would feed off each other. And the comment was brought up about using sodium and potassium salts in your boxes. So you talked about the sodium and the chlorine. Would the potassium be even a better choice here than the chlorine?
Yeah, you see, if you go back to some of the teachings years ago, I refer to, and sometimes some of the knowledge seekers who walk around me, they say, I use potassium. I buy potassium salt. And the reason I use potassium salt is not only conversion, but is the property of the potassium, which changes its configuration in the process. And if you use potassium in your what you call nano coating stage, so you create a condition in your ganses for production of certain field strength, which can support you in the space flight system. This goes back to understanding of the nuclear structure, nuclear field, magnetic field, in the interaction between proton and neutron.
Exactly, that's what he was bringing up, which is, this is good.
Pardon?
This is good information. And maybe
I
key.
don't know.
So are you talking about the isotopes then of,
isotopes, yeah,
of potassium, for example?
Yes, isotopes, but at the same time, it's not just isotopes, because now you're working in a Ganser state of matter, so you're working in field condition, not matter condition anymore. I specifically go and purchase potassium salt. And it's not easy sometimes to get, because we had to wait to get it delivered. And what do you call it? But if you go too far with it, it can have other, what do you call it? Other properties which might not be needed. But if you look at the body of the man, we have many salts in our body. And the ratio of salinity between each one and amongst the same itself creates different tissue thickness, different muscle strands. And this is something which a lot of you overlook, but if you understand it and go through the process, you in a way, the knowledge of man is not that deep yet to understand his own structure, but the salinity change between the 2 salts or 3 salts and several salts in the body allows different hardness of the muscle tissue. And if you have a very, very strong salt condition, you get a bone structure. Calcium salt, which leads to the creation of calcium itself, and then it gets deposited as it is of this character.
So this also opens up this the scenario of the GANs of GANs that you talked about so many times, where we can now within the single GANs have it become more dynamic by the salts that we use.